So today I have an exercise I want to discuss that, to me, it's a press handstand exercise, but it's an exercise to develop the specific coordination required for a press handstand. And the beauty of this exercise is that you don't actually need to have a handstand or a press or any amount of flexibility, though that does help. It's a way to diagnose and correct your form, and again, to help understand this very specific coordination. And what ends up happening in a press handstand that is done correctly is that there's a separation between flexion, extension of the hips, and curving and extension of the spine. And how to coordinate these two in sequence is one of those details that's very counterintuitive when we get to pressing. So this is an exercise that helps develop that. It helps you catch where your own flexibility is. And even though it's not going to get you the press, it's a really good assistance exercise to use in your development for that skill. So this exercise is performed laying down, and there are a few different variations, but as I said, the main thing to think about is that idea of separating the hip flexion extension with the movement of the spine. So if you followed my Vimeo on the alignment sequences, you'll know that this is an alignment drill that I do like to use a lot, where the back is flat, the arms are in line, body is not overly tight, so it's not a hollow position. It's just laying flat, using the floor as a guide for what a straight line is. We're going to use that because ideally that's our finished handstand position within the press. So exercise goes like this. We'll start with a straddle and then we'll do other variations. So laying flat, toes pointed, knees straight, open the legs as far as you can without breaking the hips. So the line stays the same, arms are overhead as if we were doing a handstand. From here, we keep going and then we rotate the legs in. So notice how when I rotate the legs in, naturally the hip angle starts to close a little bit. If you have perfect hip flexibility, those two positions are the same, but in the real world, that rotation happens and the hip closes. So here, here, and now from here what I'm going to do is engage my hip flexors to bring my legs as close as I can to my body without rounding the back. So I try to get my hips as close as I can get them here with a flat back, and then from there I start to close my legs further and I round the back. I start from lower back, mid back, upper back, feet touch the hands, and then I reverse it. When I reverse, I keep the closed hip angle, but I extend the back first. So opening the spine, back is flat, then I continue with the rest of that movement. So the hips go first, then the back on the way down. On the way up in the press, it's the back that extends first and then the hips. That order of operations is very, very important. As I said, this won't get you your press because we still need to talk about what the shoulders are doing, but this is coordination for lower body. Now, if I were to do a tuck press, it would go like this. I want to keep my shins parallel with the floor to here, knees to chest as far as I can go, round the back, extend the knees, touch the hands to the feet, opening the back, bending the knees, and extending. And then if I were to do a pike press, this is actually the most simple, but it's going to end up being the most difficult in terms of actually pressing. Pike press is going to look like this. Maximum hips. This is as far as I can get my hips to close with my back completely straight. Then from there, I straighten the back, I touch, I round the back. Now my back is round. I straighten the back, I keep the hip compression, and then I open. So I have that separation of hips and back. You can do this with ankle weights to make it a little bit more difficult. It's a bit of an ab workout as well, so if you're not used to holding, a lot of hollow holds, all these low to the ground positions, that can be helpful for this as well. Now I know that with some people, either body proportions or flexibility make it difficult for them to keep their arms all the way down. So one variation that you can use is just a couple 5-pound plates, but you can put a little bit of weight in your hands. You can put your hands underneath something, and then that makes it a little bit easier to hold yourself down. This is the exercise. You can do this for many reps. And it's just grooving that movement pattern that you're going to end up using for a lot of those common entries to handstand. And again, the beauty is that there's no prerequisites, so you don't need to be anywhere near working a press handstand to still be able to get the benefit from this. And then just to show another angle so you can see it a bit better, from here, once again, straddle, you go open hips, rotate with the closed hip angle, pull the hip flexors, round the spine, touch the feet to the hands, or you can even go further if you want. It's a bit of a neck stretch. Keep the hip flexion, extend the spine, legs. Tuck, knees round, touch, come back, and pike. To here, pike will probably challenge your hip flexibility the most. Again, this is just one drill, and if you don't have your pancake or a decent pike stretch, those will hold you back as well, so that's also something to work on. But the idea is that this exercise is a direct representation of what actually needs to happen to have that good technique in your press handstand. So hopefully you found this exercise useful. I know I haven't been super active on YouTube, but I want to start posting a few more tutorials, product reviews, etc. So if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. If you haven't seen a lot of YouTube videos from me, it's because I've been posting a lot more on Instagram and Facebook. So I would suggest you follow those because I do post pretty regularly on those two channels. Also, I will be teaching a number of workshops throughout the year and throughout the next year, etc., etc. So I've added a link below if you want to learn from me in person. It's as much as you can get from YouTube. There really isn't anything that can substitute an in-person learning experience, whether that's handstands, acrobatics, etc., etc. So yeah, basically comment, let me know what you'd like to see from this channel, check out my social medias, and I'll try to put these videos out fairly regularly and get maybe a little bit less awkward in talking to the camera.